Hi guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. Good to see you guys again, and I'm here to share my review of this Redmi K40 Game Enhanced Edition. Now folks, I did have high hopes for this phone, but I hate to say it, the review experience on this device has been really negative, mostly due to the fact that I've struggled to be able to use this phone as I normally do with Google Apps on board. Yet, instead of just sending this phone back to the store, I do want to cover some of the aspects of this device and then wrap up with a little bit of PUBG Mobile on this device as well. And coming at 1,999 RMB for the base model, this truly seemed like it was going to be one of the best phones for the money that you can get. Of course, this being the China variant, I've spent a week trying to get this phone reviewed properly, so I'm going to give it my best shot here. But of course, let's hope we do see a global variant of this K40 Game Enhanced Edition. Let's have a look. Starting with design at 8.3 millimeters, 203 grams. You know, this one definitely is in the range of the phones I've reviewed, like the Mi 11 or any of the multiple K40 series phones that I've also reviewed. Now, after a week of use, guys, I'm going to be completely honest, this design is kind of cooled on me. I don't hate it, but I also don't love it. It could also be due to the fact that it is the black variant that I picked up, but I just find these matte black edges and this fighting logo on the back, it kind of bugs me. I don't know why Redmi would decide to put these words on the back, but I do like certain things like the camera module, and I love the flash here. It looks really nice as well. Overall, it's still a really well-built phone, with those pop-up triggers also being very nifty, although I will say they are not as clicky as the ones that I felt when I reviewed the Black Shark 4 Pro. All in all, guys, I think the back of this phone is a bit uninspired, but the front is really where the action is, with this 6.7-inch, really beautiful 120Hz AMOLED display. It is definitely one of the highlights of using this phone, and you can see the chin at the bottom is very small because they've been able to pull the display back on itself, similar to an iPhone, and you have pretty solid viewing angles as well. And also, one of the highlights, you do get anti-flicker mode on this K40 Game Enhanced Edition, and overall the colors do pop. But there's one negative about this display I want to show you guys, and that is the punch hole. Because guess what? The punch hole on this unit is quite a bit larger than the one that you see on the Redmi Note 10 Pro or the K40 series. I don't get why the Game Enhanced Edition had to go back to the larger punch hole, but it's pretty noticeable, you can see there. While on the Redmi Note 10 Pro, Poco F3, Redmi K40, K40 Pro, Mi 11i, it's just a better look. But despite that, the display still is the highlight and makes up for what I consider kind of a lackluster design in this Redmi K40 Game Enhanced Edition. Performance, and this has definitely been one of the highlights of this phone, with the Dimensity 1200 on board, 12 gigs of RAM, and this is the 128GB storage version. But you also saw in my Antutu throttling test, this phone was the winner. It did manage to have a really big jump in score. Now, I don't know if that would be the result in future testing, but I can just tell you guys overall that this Dimensity 1200 is a really good competitor to the Snapdragon 870 that we've seen on phones like the Poco F3. But of course, one of the key highlights of having tested out this device is that it's running MIUI 12.5, and just overall the experience has been very positive with MIUI 12.5. But there's no denying, guys, the compatibility issues have been one of the biggest issues with this phone, and of course things like DRM info, you can see there, L3, this is a China variant phone. And to all you guys in the comments who said, oh, but Frankie Tech, why don't you just sideload the global ROM? There is no global ROM for this phone yet. So how am I supposed to sideload a global ROM if it doesn't exist, and it may never exist? And unless you really are a die-hard Redmi fan and you want to try to find ways to root your phone or flash a ROM on this device at some point, I don't recommend that you pick up this variant of this K40 Gaming Enhanced Edition. And battery life on this K40 Game Enhanced Edition has been solid. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to test out this phone with all the typical battery apps that I use, but I can tell you with a 5060 mAh battery, this phone should perform better than most of the other K40 series phones, which have lower capacities. And with the 67-watt charger on board, you'll get from 0 to 100 in just under 50 minutes. Solid battery specs for this K40 Game Enhanced Edition. Now, in terms of fingerprint scanner, this phone is solid just like every other K40 series phone, and the vibration motor is also very good. It's up there with what we've seen on the Mi 11i or the Poco F3. and all the comms you would expect from a flagship phone, including NFC as well. All of these experiences are very similar to what you would get on a Poco F3 as well. But there is one thing this phone is delivering that is different from those, and that is the dual speaker experience with dual speakers on this K40 Game Enhanced Edition, but no headphone jack, which I know is a negative for many of you out there. But the key thing I want to test out now is the sound by JBL speakers. So let's go ahead and bring in here the Mi 11i, and let's have a little listen to some Frankie Tech music on this K40 Game Enhanced Edition. What can I say? This K40 Game Enhanced Edition has terrific speakers, and I'd say of all the things I've tested about this device, this has definitely been one of the highlights and probably the biggest point of differentiation between this phone and the other K40 series phones. And I would say if audio is one of your key priorities for a phone, you may want to wait for the global variant of this phone once it's released, because it does deliver some truly magnificent sound and is the best K40 series dual speaker set I've heard so far. And then we have the cameras, a 64 megapixel main shooter, 8 megapixel ultra wide, and a 2 megapixel macro camera. The 2 megapixel macro I'm not even gonna talk about because it really is nothing special, and the 8 megapixel ultra wide is pretty generic. All in all, guys, the cameras on this phone are just okay. They're not really that great, but that's really not the point of why you would buy this phone. And you know, they'll still deliver some decent shots day and night. But of course, have a look at these samples and hit me up in the comments. What do you think? And this is rear-facing video on the K40 Game Enhanced Edition, shooting in 4K 30 FPS. Unfortunately, there's no 60 FPS video on this phone. Looks pretty good though, but good stabilization, I'd say, for this type of shot. But hit me up in the comments, what do you think? And this is front-facing video on the K40 Game Enhanced Edition, shooting in 1080p 30. There's no 1080p 60 available. So really, guys, the video, the photo quality is not the reason you're going to pick up this phone. But hit me up in the comments, what do you think? And here we are, guys, with some PUBG action on the K40 Game Enhanced Edition. And I had a really good go of it last time. Now you may be wondering, Frankie Tech, why aren't you showing Genshin Impact? Well, that's because, guys, I needed to sideload the game, and yet even after downloading the full game, I got an error message when trying to log in and was unable to play Genshin Impact on this phone. But it's alright, guys, because we have PUBG, the classic, here to share with all of you. And let me show you the settings that I was playing at before. Smooth, extreme, realistic. Turned off all these other things, and let's get started. And it's time for the classic Frankie Tech swim test. Just keep swimming, woo! Oh yeah. And at the plane jump with the Mali G77 MC9. We've seen this before on other phones, guys, but no stutters whatsoever. There's a very powerful GPU. Let's get down to the surface, get some guns, get some action. Okay, and we've got some guns. And there you see I have the buttons, the trigger buttons set for this phone, and I think someone's in here already. There they are. Take that. Oh yeah, there we go. Booyah! First kill on the K40 Game Enhanced Edition. Someone's shooting at me. Oh boy. Oh man, there we go. Are you serious? I've already been killed. Guys, that pretty much sums up my experience with this phone. So let's go ahead and restart once again because that was pretty lousy. We'll jump in another game real quick. Alright, so back in with game number 2 here. Let's see if we do better this time. Alright, got some guns. Then we're going to get some action real quick here. Take that. Booyah! There we go, first kill. And a much better initial showing here in game number 2. There's some footsteps around me. And of course, the cooling chamber will allow for this phone to get much hotter. Take that! Oh my gosh, are you serious? Are you serious? I'm done. I'm done, guys. So all in all, guys, despite my terrible performance here, you will have a great gaming experience on this K40 Game Enhanced Edition once the global variant comes out. If you are a gaming-centric person, this definitely will be the one to consider picking up. And so that's it for this video and my final verdict on this K40 Game Enhanced Edition. Look guys, this is a great phone. There's a lot going for it in terms of design, display, performance, great dual speaker experience. The cameras, you know, they're kind of meh, but it's a gaming phone, so we can't really judge it too harshly on that. But the bigger issue I have with this phone, guys, is just the feeling of been there, done that. And that's the best way I can describe what reviewing this device has been like. When the Redmi Note 10 Pro and the first Redmi K40 series phone came out, I was genuinely excited about checking out that type of series, but it's just kind of felt to me recently that Redmi's strategy of releasing similar variant after similar variant is starting to get a bit tiring. From the Redmi Note 10 Pro, which offers a similar 120Hz AMOLED display experience, to then the K40 Pro that I reviewed, which is very similar, of course, to the Poco F3 I reviewed, which in terms of body and build quality and display is also very similar. To then the Mi 11i, which is the global version of the K40 Pro Plus, which arguably has better cameras and better performance as well. So when it comes down to it, guys, I'm just feeling a little bit of fatigue with seeing so many releases in this K40 series. Xiaomi, I love you guys, but I do think it's time to start looking at other releases and maybe possibly not releasing so many variants of the same phone with just slight tweaks in camera and performance specs. Of course, this Game Enhanced Edition does bring some other great things to the table, but as you see here, it is the China variant, and hopefully soon we will see the global variant of this phone. But once again, a terrific device, but in my experience, it really is feeling like I've been there and done that. But hit me up in the comments. What are your thoughts on this K40 Game Enhanced Edition? And do you think I'm being too harsh on this phone? Or do you think Redmi truly has released just way too many variants under this K40 series name? Hit me up in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. And that's it for this video. If you liked it, give me that thumbs up. And if you love the content of Frankie Tech, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon for future updates. But yes, one more video on this one, guys. And that will be my MIUI 12.5 Top 5 Features video. Stay tuned for that. And this is where I leave you by saying, this is Frankie Tech signing off. Have a good one. It's a great phone, guys, no doubt. But just been there, done that too many times.